bin.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And it's been another fun 2 weeks of Star Wars news. Have you watched anything Star Wars related in the last few weeks, Kenton?
I continue to watch the Disney Gallery, the terribly named Disney Gallery.
Yeah, what's with that?
Making of The Mandalorian.
I guess it's a part of a larger series. Disney Gallery is going to be going to do stuff probably on Marvel movies and who knows what else, Pixar maybe. But I don't know why they call it that.
yeah. It's, I think some people might actually miss it.
Yeah.
But I watched that. But the last episode, you may have noticed, is only 18 minutes long.
Oh, I did not know. I've not watched it yet. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was a little.
Why?
So I watched 18 minutes of solid Star Wars content.
Okay. I did start rewatching The Mandalorian. So all this behind the scenes stuff on The Mandalorian got me in the mood to start watching it again. So I've watched the first couple episodes of The Mandalorian, and yeah, still really good. Still solid start to that series, and I'm quite enjoying it.
Oh, it's really good. I've watched it twice all the way through. Well, and maybe even 3 times actually, because I watched each episode twice as they came out.
Yeah, when it first came out.
Then I watched it again like a movie. But I think I'm going to watch it one more time as well. It's true. When you watch that series, you want to watch it again.
Yeah, and I want to, I'm kind of wishing that, I'm going to space that out a bit, I think, because I think, when are we getting the next season? September, October, something like that? In the fall sometime. I believe. Yeah, October. So it's still a little ways away. Yeah. I still want it to be fresh in my mind when I see season 2. So anyway. But again, still hanging on to the Disney Plus subscription for now. Which I'm kind of surprised at because there's nothing else really on there that I want to watch other than the Star Wars movies, of course. Yeah. I mean, it's got Star Wars movies on there, but I haven't really been watching any of that.
Did you see what else Disney Plus has?
No.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh yeah, I saw that actually.
Yeah.
Kind of advertised on their main page, just all the little shorts that we used to love when we were kids.
Well, there's something funny about that actually. It's the shorts, but I had the DVD. And on the DVD, they had a little narrator who would basically walk you through all of them. And he'd go, and now, multiplication rock, or something like that. It was just so what they have on there still has the narrator that wasn't part of the original shorts.
Okay.
So it's like they just lifted it from the DVD. They just took chapter.
Interesting. And so it's got all the fun Conjunction Junction and I'm Just a Bill and all the greatest
they're all
hits.
there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Including some that they made years later, I think, that aren't as good.
Oh, okay.
But all the originals, I think the first one is a noun is a person, place, or thing. Mm-hmm. I think that's the first one.
I'm guilty of actually referencing those in classes that I've taught about grammar and punctuation. I try to do it in a way that I'm hopefully not treating my adult students like they're children, because these are clearly aimed at children, but this is also during a time when they used to focus more on that stuff in school. We could talk about this all day as far as how they're not focusing on writing as much as they should be in maybe middle school and high school. But yeah, I have used it just to kind of broach the subject, get people interested. And for most of our students, they don't remember them.
No, they didn't know them in the first place, really.
So they don't understand what it is.
Yeah, I used to show them to graphic design students.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, graphic design.
Yeah, and they loved them, but because they like animation, they appreciate older
animation. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Whereas pre-com students, I don't know. I loaned the DVDs back when none of this stuff was online. I loaned them to our colleague Emily, and I think she used them with pre-com students, but she gave them back to me, which implies she does not need them anymore.
They did not go. Well, I mean, you can probably, I guess, I don't know if you can find them on YouTube. At one time, they were probably available on YouTube. But anyway, that's interesting.
Yeah, I love them. They're fun. They're good. They're good fun to watch them. But there's a part of them called America Rock. And given the present course of current events, there might be some stuff there that might cause people some concern. And I'm not saying there's nothing racial, but there's certainly a celebration of American values in some of those. Some of those that might be,
Maybe not being a true.
maybe the appetite for that isn't what it used to be.
True.
Yeah.
Just while we're on the subject of education, I did bring my kids into school this week. They had some in-person sessions at their schools, and I had to say it felt really good to drop them off at school. It felt normal. It felt normal. It's like, this is something I would do every day. I would drop them off at school, and then when I dropped them off, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I just dropped them, and they're only there for a couple hours, and then they came home. But it was still kind of fun to kind of experience that again. And I guess I'm not going to experience it until the fall now, because that's when schools kind of come back.
Are they going back?
Yeah, well, as far as I know, that's what they're saying. So
meanwhile, our students are not.
Yeah, no, I know. Let's not get onto that topic. That's a whole other ball of wax. Let's get to some. I have some Star Wars clickbait to share with you this week.
What? How? What are you talking about? Huh? What? Goodness gracious me.
This one comes from cinemablend.com, and the headline reads, "This Last Jedi actor was bummed that he didn't appear in The Rise of Skywalker." Who is it? Who are we talking about here, Kenton? What do you think?
Ahmed Best.
No, that's the next story I want to talk about. But no, this is someone who was in The Last Jedi who did not appear in the Rise of Skywalker, and the answer is,
I know.
You know what?
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Broom Boy.
Broom Boy. Yes,
Yeah.
Broom Boy.
I should have got that.
Broom Boy was recently interviewed by a YouTube channel and talked about his experience on. I mean, he's got no lines.
How old is he?
I don't know, 12,
No.
something like that. No, does it say?
Looks like he's a punk in the.
Young actor named Tamerlan Blave, and doesn't say how old he is, but he says that he wasn't sure. He didn't know if he was going to be coming back or not in the third episode. Certainly I didn't think he would be. I mean, we all thought that was a tease for Rian Johnson's trilogy, whatever he's making next for Star Wars, right? That's kind of what we figured that was.
Yeah.
I don't think
I mean, that's just one more loose end that didn't get carried over because Rian Johnson and JJ don't like each other. No matter what anybody says, I say they don't.
Well,
I say they don't like each other's films.
I don't like. Yeah, they don't like each other's films. That's the thing. They don't like the content. Like maybe they get along as people, but the movies they made, like Rian Johnson definitely didn't like The Force Awakens, and JJ didn't like The Rise of Skywalker. So that's why we got what we got.
No, JJ didn't like Last Jedi.
Oh, that's right. Last Jedi. That's right.
That doesn't surprise me. But there was an opportunity to. Okay, so Skywalker has vanished, but he saved the what do they call him now? Not the rebellion, the
resistance.
The resistance, right? So he saved the resistance, and he is inspiring a young generation of heroes across the galaxy. And there could have been, like, in the end, we got 1 billion ships showed up, and I actually don't think they made as much of just that in general as they could have. We could have had all kinds of cutaways to cool people in cool ships.
I wouldn't have liked it.
Might not. Well, how do you know?
Because I don't like what we saw. I didn't like the few cutaways that we had. I guess. I don't know.
But that was an issue. But they could have. That could have been easily continued in that film. Like there's lots of opportunity had JJ wanted to, but I don't think he was cared too much about continuity.
Well, obviously not. Like that was the main issue, right? But yeah, getting back to Broom Boy, he says, "I wasn't sure because it could have been, yes, he could have continued my story, how Rey would have trained me or helped me in some way. But then at the same time, am I really that important? Am I someone big or am I just a boy, a lucky boy in a galaxy far, far away? A lot of people were asking me about returning, and I said, well, we'll have to wait to see if I get called back. But I guess I kind of understand why it happened. But I mean, come on, this guy, even if they do make a movie out of that idea that there are other people out there that are force sensitive and should be trained, this kid doesn't necessarily need to come back, right? Well, like he doesn't need to be the one.
Star Wars is littered with bit roles of people who wish they could come back. I mean, like all the way from Mace Windu, from Samuel L. Jackson, to whoever the voice of Dexter Jetster was. Probably they're all like, maybe this one's mine.
And, that's a great segue into the next story, which is from one of those people, Ahmed Best, better known as Jar Jar Binks. And they announced last week that he is coming back to host a Star Wars kids game show, I guess you could say, called Star Wars Jedi Temple Challenge.
For generations, the Jedi Order have been the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy.
Now, Padawan teams must endure 3 challenging rounds of Jedi trials to become Jedi Knights.
Go, 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 go!
From the strength trials on a distant world
Keep going.
to the knowledge trials aboard a Jedi Star Cruiser,
Your answer is correct.
Yes.
only one team will have what it takes to enter the Jedi Temple,
Use the force!
face the mysteries inside,
Here's a circle plug.
and prove their bravery to become Jedi Knights.
You got this. I believe in you. Go, 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 hurry. Push in this red.
Will the Padawans be tempted by the dark side? Or keep their minds focused on the light side of the Force?
May the Force be with you always.
Now,
There's only one thing for you to do.
This is my favorite part.
Punch it! Don't give up.
Trust in the force.
By the right of the Council, by the will of the Force,
Yeah!
it's time to face your Jedi Temple Challenge.
I'm not an Ahmed Best hater. In fact, I think it's kind of a shame that he got so closely identified with this character, and people, like, I'm sure he's received tons of hate mail and that kind of stuff over the years, because Jar Jar Binks is one of the worst characters in Star Wars history, but that's not his fault. He's just doing his job.
Well, he's also the first digital CGI character in a film.
Yes.
In a live action film, he's the first one. So there's a historical element, but then there's a backlash element.
Wasn't Michael Jackson interested in that role for a while? I heard that story somewhere.
Oh God.
There's a story. You can look it up.
Yeah. He said, "Is it true about 1 million kids will watch this film? Because I would like to be in it." That's what he said.
But I think the story goes, and I mean, this could be wrong, but you can double check if you look it up. He'd been bugging George Lucas for a while about it, and then they were at a concert or some kind of event, and Ahmed Best was there as well. And George introduced the two and said, "This is Ahmed Best. He's going to be playing Jar Jar Binks." And that was his way of saying no to Michael Jackson by telling him this other guy had been cast in it. So, but I mean, like you go down, you show up on set, you've got all he's wearing is this hat that's kind of looks like the character's head. You don't really know what the character is going to look like at that point, and you're receiving direction from George Lucas. I almost said Jar Jar Lucas.
That's Jar Jar Abrams. Jar Jar Abrams. Everyone knows that.
He says, do this kind of voice and make it sound. I guess I don't know. I mean, people said it sounded racist, but I think he was going for kind of a Caribbean type of an accent, which might be something in line with his family or something. I don't know where he was getting that from. We heard from the guy who played Watto. Remember that thing that you did with him? And he said he was trying to do an Italian accent with Watto, not Jewish, as many people took that from. But anyway, I just think that
he was an Italian. He was thinking of The Godfather.
Yeah. That's right.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
But certainly he's gotten kind of he's had a rough go of it, I think, Ahmed Best. So I'm glad to see him coming back in this role and being given a chance to kind of be part of Star Wars in a different way.
He looks good in the Jedi robes, and
he looks
throw
good.
him in a movie, for God's sakes. Like, who cares?
The whole idea behind this, and this is I'm not a stranger to kids game shows. I've watched a few of them over the years with my kids, and there's a lot of different types of ones. Back in my day, there were ones that they usually involve some kind of slime or goop being thrown at the kids, or they get messy in some way. But these days, they're way more sophisticated. There's also a lot of kids-related cooking shows on TV. I don't know if you've seen any of those, where either the kids are making something or the kids are critiquing dishes made by professional chefs. That was a fun one. I don't remember the name of it, but basically chefs are making food for picky eaters, kids who are picky eaters, so it's kind of funny. But yeah,
There's one. I saw an ad for one yesterday that from England, a junior chef or something.
Yeah.
And the host is Harry Hill, the British comedian, the hilarious British comedian. I saw him when I was in England, actually, but I was kind of like this. He's sort of like this cutting, bizarre stand-up comic. Bizarre is the best way to describe it. Letterman used to have him on and just died laughing because it was so weird. And there he suddenly has become like a children's host, and so he sort of softened the edges of the comic persona, and he still dresses the same way, but now he's more like a host-like as opposed to wacky comedian-like.
So they actually have already got 2 episodes of this Jedi Temple Challenge up. and it's a different YouTube channel than the Star Wars YouTube channel. This is the Star Wars Kids YouTube channel, which is aimed at obviously kids, and they put a lot more of the animated shorts and stuff like that on there, stuff that are aimed at younger kids. This was launched on June 10th, so 2 days ago, or 1 day ago, yesterday actually, and it's got 14,000 views. So that's not great for, I think, a Star Wars related property. I'll have to watch these.
And considering all the kids are at home.
I guess, yeah. Well, I was going to say, like, I thought YouTube was a good idea to put it on there because kids are on watching YouTube anyway, and that's the main thing they watch these days. So to put it for free on YouTube is a good way to kind of grow the brand for a child audience.
What's the contest?
Well, the show?
Yeah.
Well, you
like,
do a couple.
There's
a couple. I'm sure you win. Like, I don't know.
Like, do you have to be a contestant? Or
No. It's a shot. It's like there's a set, and they have these. It's like obstacle courses. There's 3 challenges they go through.
So people at home can't win.
No.
There's no gambling.
No, there's no gambling.
Right.
But it's kind of along the lines of like the challenges in Survivor, where there's puzzle challenges or physical challenges and stuff like that. They go through all these different things. They have to build a lightsaber. They have to do all, and it's kind of set in this Jedi temple. Like the set is a Jedi temple, so that's kind of the idea. And it's 2 kids. Oh no, there are three teams or 2? Yeah, 3 teams: blue, orange, and purple. And they basically compete against each other to see who can become the Jedi. I don't know if they win. I'll watch these episodes and I'll report back next episode. I didn't know they were live already. I thought that they were just teasing it. So
14,000 views isn't a lot, and that are the comments on or off?
Let's check that. That's a good point.
I just want to see if all the adults came to bitch.
Comments are turned off.
That's right. So. That sounds right. I was waiting. All the adult Star Wars fans. Is this canon? bunch of idiots.
There's no way that Jar Jar would be doing that at this point. That's awesome.
If this is a temple, where's the priest? All of that shit.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
comments off. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, it's not surprising, but yeah. So again, I'll watch these. There's a couple of droid characters as well. Wisecracking Protocol Droid 83 and Astromech LXR5. So a couple droids in this as well, and some other characters. So again, I'll give it a watch and I'll let you know how it is next time we talk.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Well, I guess, how long is it, did you say?
About 20 minutes, 23 minutes.
Oh, maybe I'll watch one too. What the hell?
Like it could be, like that link indicates that it could be also on like Disney XD or something. I should check Disney XD and see.
Oh.
But like it's pretty much the same length as a regular TV show, right? With commercials and stuff. So maybe they made it with that intent and then they just decided to put it on YouTube. I don't know.
Then I can share it on our media or on our Star Wars Nerds podcast channel and leave all my hate there.
Yeah.
Instead of on the YouTube
I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty good for what it is. You got to keep in mind the audience for it, and it's a good way for them to interact with Star Wars. They can't really do much else right now at this point. Like the theme parks, I think are the theme parks still shut down or are they opening up again? I don't know if they're.
I think they're opening up again.
Okay, so they're opening up, but there's going to be social distancing there. Yeah. Not a lot of people are going to be able to go to the theme parks to experience the Star Wars rides and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is good. And for kids, there's not a lot going on in the Star Wars universe right now. Like there's no more cartoons on right now. There's no more movies or anything. We've got The Mandalorian, but that's not really for kids. I tried watching it with Luke and he got scared.
Did he?
Yeah.
What scared him?
I'm trying to think what scared him. The cave that the Mudhorn is in when the Mando goes in there to go look for the. It is. It's like he goes. He's like, "Oh, what's going on in here?" I said, "It's okay. It's fine." But he didn't want to watch it because it looks scary. So he saw the eye when the eye opens up and that Mudhorn like just kind of takes him.
How old is he? How old's your son?
Luke is 9.
9. So okay, that's the age that I saw Star Wars for the first time, and for sure, it was easy to be scared. I remember. Yeah. I remember being scared. Sure.
Way back then.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we'll take a look at that. You actually made a foray out into the world of toy shopping this week.
I did. Yeah, I went to for the first time GameStop since it opened, and to check out the Star Wars merch. Mostly, and once again, it's just as fun as visiting anywhere now, which is a guy. And the guy, by the way, is I guess GameStop was one of the places that got burned, that got roasted for making their employees work too long.
Okay.
or whatever, too long into the pandemic.
Well, they tried to stay open, and they also had lineups for. It was because of the Animal Crossing release that game was huge, and they had lineups down the street, and they weren't doing social distancing for those lineups, so they got a lot of flack for that.
Right. So now they've erred on the side of caution, and the guy working there just looked like mask, something on his head temperature. I don't know, something on his head. Rubber gloves, like they were all decked out, and he had to spray your hands on the way in with the sanitation, with the hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
So that it was only me and another guy in there. Three people, two of us shoppers, and one guy working there. So that was my first time back, and I went to check it out, and they actually had some Star Wars toys I'd never seen in real life before. They had the Zori Bliss Star Wars black figure.
Okay.
And
does her mask come off? No.
I don't know if it does.
Her visor will go out. We can see her eyes, but that's it.
I looked at it and I went, cool, but I don't want to own it.
Okay.
Then I came very close to buying one, but I know they had a bunch of them. So I was like, there's no rush, but I'll probably end up getting one. But they have the 6-inch probe droid.
Okay.
Empire Strikes Back.
Now, was that part of the retro?
Yeah.
It was in the Kenner packaging.
Oh well, it's part of the anniversary collection. I don't think it was in retro.
Okay.
It might have. Oh boy, I don't think so.
Well, the difference is the ones I saw at Walmart, they had the blister pack with like just a card and then plastic, just like they used to come when we were kids. Now, of course, black figures come in a box, like an actual black box with a window that you can open up. But yeah, it would have said Kenner. There would have been a big Kenner logo on it if they were doing the retro packaging for it.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was for the 40th anniversary, but not retro.
Okay.
Then the other thing, so they had that one, and that was, as I say, that was very cool. And more expensive. It's a deluxe one. So a little deluxe price.
Mm-hmm.
They also had lots of little stickers going, Baby Yoda merch is here. Everywhere, like little part things. Check out all the Baby Yoda merch. And they had no figures to be seen. I'm sure they sold them all out. But they had a little keychain with Baby Yoda's face on it or something. They had a couple of those, a couple different kinds of keychains. That was it. Despite all the in-store promotions saying, check out all the Baby Yoda merch. It's finally here. But they had sold out of it and not removed any of the stuff saying, check it all out.
6 months too late, right? Like they totally missed the opportunity to have Baby Yoda could have dominated Last Christmas, and it might again. I mean, now that they have a lead up, they might find that, like the Mandalorian season 2 will come out, September, October, and that'll lead into the next Christmas season, and then people want to buy Baby Yoda again. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that they were expecting it to become the sensation that it did. Like, I don't know that they were really knew that was going to happen. So otherwise they would have had merchandise ready.
Now, well, one of two things can happen in season 2. They can go, well, we know we mined gold here, so it's going to be Baby Yoda all the time, and they overdo it, and there's too much Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian, and people grow sick of it. Or they use it strategically, and once again, it's not easy to find the merch, so demand could build again. It could happen. But it's hard to say. Who knows what stores will be like? Like, it seems like everything in Winnipeg's opening up again. But
oh yeah, things are getting back to normal for sure. Yep.
Yeah. So it sort of depends on a lot of different factors. But there's only one more thing that I saw at GameStop. No, there's no games to be had. I think everything's been delayed. But they did have the Wonder Woman 1984 figure from the movie. I think
didn't come out this summer.
Hasn't that movie been delayed too?
Yes, it has.
Yeah. So the figure, I guess, used to be coincided to come out with the film.
I was gonna do a running joke on Twitter. Top 10 reasons you're still in a pandemic. And one of them was my first joke. I was just gonna tweet them out as it came to me, and then just kind of build on them and build a thread. And so I did two of them. I did one being the rush to the end of the line when you see somebody else, like when you go into line up at the grocery store and you see somebody else walking towards, and you both kind of speed up super fast. So you can get there ahead of the person.
Oh yeah.
Do a little bit of a race to get to the end of that line.
Yeah.
Not that it matters because you sit there waiting for half an hour anyway. And the other one was outdated movie promotional tie-ins, with Wonder Woman being the one, because there was a bunch of I saw a bunch of Doritos and Lay's chips with images of Wonder Woman. So that's the fast food tie-in, or the junk food tie-in was Doritos. And of course, it's not timed properly now because the movie's not coming out. They already had made the packaging, so they had to use the packaging. And I don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to redo it again when the movie actually comes out, or are they going to do something else? I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation.
Who knows? I mean, there's so much of that stuff floating around that, I mean, and who even knows what movie theaters are going to be like and all of that stuff. So who knows? I think they just should release it on demand. I mean, what the hell?
I think that I'm actually looking forward to going back to the movie theater. I do miss it. I do like going to see it for the big movies, for the fun movies. The big one they say is going to be the new the one that pissed us off so much at the Star Wars movie. We saw Rise of Skywalker. Tenet, the one that was like the 10-minute clip of the movie that we didn't know what was happening, that made us think we were in the wrong theater.
Everybody thought they were in the wrong theater. It wasn't just us. Everybody did.
I know.
Everybody looking around. Yeah.
It added 10 minutes to an already robust ad block. It was like 20 minutes of ads and 10 minutes of this.
It was long. The crowd was screaming. And by the way, the reason I didn't stay, I was starved. I was so hungry after I saw Rise of Skywalker. I was going to see it again with you, but I ended up going. And there's two factors: the fact that I was hungry and the fact that I could not sit through the pre-show one more time. It was so horrid.
Yeah, you could have gone for dinner and still had time to make it to the movie, but given all that stuff.
Know. It was that was one of the worst examples of that I've ever seen in our market.
So they say that's going to be the big movie to start this blockbuster season in July. That one's coming out in July, and that's going to be the one to bring us back to the theaters, which is good. And it does, like, for as much as it did upset us at the time, it looks like a pretty good movie. And I've actually been on a Chris Nolan kind of kick lately. I rewatched Interstellar. I rewatched Dark Knight. I rewatched Inception recently. Like, those are all just amazing movies, and he's an incredible filmmaker. So I am looking forward to the film. But anyway, not the greatest way to introduce it to us.
What was the first film he made with Guy Pearce?
Memento. That's an amazing movie.
That's still my favorite Christopher Nolan film.
It's so good. Film. Have you ever watched it in order? Like,
yeah.
You do it I did it through the DVD.
Yeah, me too.
And you just like watch the scene one at a time, but you do it in the real order that it happens. It's really cool.
Yeah, I like that. It works, but of course the movie works best in the
original
order. Yeah.
For sure.
It's like I bought Mad Max black and white, Fury Road.
Right. Oh, yeah, the Chrome edition.
He couldn't decide.
Right.
Going to do color or black and white. So I watched it once in black and white and was like, I don't know. I think the work they did on the color was so good that I'm glad I watched it. I don't think I will ever watch it in black and white again, but maybe I'm wrong. Who knows what I'm going to run out of, how much content is left out there that we're going to run out of. So I shouldn't speak too soon. But
all right. Now you wanted to talk about something having to do with Yoda. What was the Yoda joke?
Yeah, so I was driving through Winnipeg. This is the Yoda joke that keeps giving wherever you go, and this has been like around forever. But I'm driving past Tony's Auto.
Oh, I saw this.
Tony's Academy Auto Service.
Yes, on Corydon, yes.
Right, and the sign says, "What kind of car does Yoda drive?" A Toyota. That's it.
Boo.
That's it. That is the whole thing. And I think didn't Winnipeg, and it reminded, and that's the oldest joke ever. But didn't Winnipeg have a deal where radio hosts said you could win a Toyota, and then the person won, and they tried to give them the toy Yoda?
I don't know. I don't know about that one. I do know there was another situation with a radio host telling people they were going to go to Miami for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they went to Miami, Manitoba, and that guy got fired over that one. So I don't know if that's going to... But
they had to send the person to Florida. That's why he got fired.
Yeah. So I don't know about that joke, but I have heard that joke before as a prank. I think it was a prank video that one of my kids was watching. It says, "Hey, I bought you a new Toyota," and then he goes out to the driveway. In the driveway, there's a toy Yoda. So, yeah, boo. I don't know. It's a lame joke, and we know that Yoda doesn't need to drive.
I saw it. I was coming up upon it in a passenger seat, and so I quickly and I saw it coming, so I took the photo really quick. But I was like, okay, the fact that that's on there, on one hand, it's the oldest joke ever, oldest Star Wars joke. It's 40 years old, that joke is. And so on one hand, I was like, oh God, corny. Is this thing ever going to go away? On the other hand, I was kind of like, the Yoda is so entrenched that the joke just stands by itself. You don't even need, there's no explanation required. Everybody just knows who Yoda is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the joke that won't go away. Bad Star Wars humor as opposed to good Star Wars humor.
That reminds me that I don't know what happened exactly, but I saw this tweeted, I think it was from Pablo, about the Yoda statue outside of Lucasfilm.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of, yeah.
Matter, Black Lives Do. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So someone wrote that on the statue, outside the Yoda statue, which is on, and that tweeted, Pablo pointed out two things. Number one, there's nobody in those offices right now. They're all working from home. And two, it's on federal land, apparently. That's that building
Right.
is actually on federal land, so it's not a private property.
On the Presidio.
The Presidio, yes. So
yes.
So I don't know, like, certainly it's a good message, and I don't think it's an official Lucasfilm message, though. I think it was just somebody went up there and did that. It doesn't seem like a thing Lucasfilm would do.
No, but that does not still rule out an employee. Doesn't matter if they're not working.
Right,
there.
yes. It could be somebody who went down there, and yes.
I could show up at school tomorrow and write Black Lives Matter on Red River College, cross out red, and put Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And doesn't mean that just because the employees aren't there doesn't mean that they aren't inspired to do something like that.
Yeah. But it's a good idea, I think, and they can certainly clean it off. They didn't desecrate the statue itself. It was just on the base of the statue, so they'll
Are they going to clean it or are they going to leave it?
I think they're probably going to clean it. Wouldn't you want to clean that up? It doesn't look great. It looks
Put up
like
a better one.
Well, it's but it looks exactly what it's supposed to be, which is a kind of a statement against the issue that they're standing up for.
Yeah.
In a very kind of guerrilla tactic kind of a way. So I think it does achieve what it's meant to achieve. But I think they will take it off there at some point. Whenever they get back to work in the Presidio, they'll take that off and leave it as is. Is that like, I wonder, is that like, so probably what he's saying is that anybody can just walk up to that thing? Like, it's not like...
Oh, I think so. I think
you can't get into the building because you need to be a Lucasfilm employee to get into the building, but you can just walk up to the Yoda statue and take a photo or whatever. Because that's what I want to do. Whenever I go to San Francisco, I do plan to visit the Yoda statue.
Yeah, I've been to San Francisco a couple times, but not since when I was there. Lucasfilm was not on that property.
Oh, okay.
At that point, and in fact. Didn't George Lucas want to build his museum there?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, no, I've heard that's what he's been working on.
And then Chicago, he was going to build it in Chicago, and then that got declined.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that now.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else is there in Star Wars news?
By the way, Winnipeg will build that museum. Let's build it here.
Of course, we also had John Boyega speaking out for Black Lives Matter as well last week. Had a great kind of speech on that. And everybody seems to be like on board with this. Whole
of course.
movement.
Of course. Star Wars is the force of good in the galaxy.
Yeah. And I think that they're, despite the fact that the original film does not have any color in it pretty much, it's all white people, I believe, in that first movie.
It's noticeable now.
Yeah, it is.
But they've over the years. Not. Every movie was basically packed with white people.
Except for, Lando was the one token black guy in Empire and Jedi, but as they've gone on, they've gotten better at more equal representation, where they have main characters are black and more people and other people as well, LGBTQ people and all that kinds of stuff. So
that's gone. There was that 1 minute or one blink if you miss it. First gay Star Wars character in The Rise of Skywalker, but that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Well, that didn't get enough time?
That it was kind of like, and here's this. Here's 1 second for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it
felt like
at best, thing. It was sort of, okay, here it is. But I think the Star Wars fans that wanted that story wanted Poe and Finn to be a couple. And they certainly, well, they could have done it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they could have. It could have been.
There's nothing wrong with that. They certainly had a bromance going. Like that was,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what they were trying to do. But yeah, they could have had it go the other way. Like there was no reason not to, right?
Yeah, no, I mean they laid the groundwork, but there's a lot of stuff they laid the groundwork for that came to nothing, like Broom Boy. So,
Bringing it all back to Broom Boy.
that's right.
Yeah. I don't know. It's you know, we'll do the watch along at some point for The Last Jedi. I'm really not looking forward to be honest.
Rise of Skywalker.
All right, sorry. I keep doing that. I keep mixing those two up. Of the three, I think I've said this already. The Last Jedi is my favorite of the new three movies, but yeah, we will have to do our commentary where we watch it together and talk about it. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm kind of been holding off because I'm worried. Like I said, I enjoyed it the first few times I watched it, and now I'm probably not going to enjoy it, and I'm worried that it's going to sour my Star Wars fandom a little bit.
Well, no, you know what? I watched it again, and to my surprise, the part that surprised me was because, how I said, like, when we talked about Rise of Skywalker the next day or whenever we did it, the part, to me, it was just like a blur of plot points the first time I saw it, the beginning of the film. And when I rewatched it, what surprised me was the breeziness and a little bit of the fun that I kind of forgot about in the opening of The Rise of Skywalker. There's some really good stuff in there. And I noticed that throughout the film. Throughout the film, there's some really good stuff in there, but then it just doesn't solve the original problem, which is, and so when you're done, you're left with at least I was left with the feeling like, that was more fun than I remember it. But still, they should have laid the groundwork for the Emperor in particular. That was that needed to be set up in an earlier film. That had to have been, because it just seems like it's like slam on the brakes and do a 180. Like there's some of that stuff, and I also think that some of the stuff that doesn't work in The Rise of Skywalker is also the fault of the movies that came before, in terms of like, but when we saw Return of the Jedi and Han and Luke are together again before they go to Jabba's barge, and they have that little banter, like together again, wouldn't miss it, all of that stuff. And we laugh at that because they've established those characters so well that at that point they earn the right to have that moment. Whereas the new characters for this trilogy, they kind of didn't earn that. Hey, look, we're together again. Like that kind of didn't, like they're chummy and they're attempting the banter that we loved in Return of the Jedi, but the stuff that came before didn't do what it needed to do to make those moments work.
Yeah,
so I think it's that simple.
I'm still shocked that they didn't have an overarching plan for the trilogy before they went into it. Like they must
have had something.
But like either they let Rian Johnson do what he wanted to do and he killed Snoke. Like that was the big thing. Rian Johnson killed Snoke. So that threw their big bad into they didn't have a big bad for that third. Although I thought it was going to be Kylo Ren. I thought that was what that was setting up. But no, that's not what they did. They brought back the Emperor to be that. I think that JJ had an idea. Now remember, it was going to be Colin Trevorrow. Colin Trevorrow's script was much different apparently, and that kind of stuff. But
not totally different. Like I read the treatment, if it's true, and I think it is true, that when I read the treatment, it's like it followed a similar path. Like it wasn't completely different. Now I can't remember off the top of my head what the main plot points were, but when I read it, I thought, it's a little different. It's kind of different.
But don't you think so let's pretend that Snoke doesn't die in the second movie, and then instead of the Emperor, we have Snoke. He's the big bad guy, right? Which would have made more sense, which would have been like not as jarring. Maybe he pulls a Darth Maul. Maybe we think he dies and then he comes back. That would have been fine. And then at the end, he faces both Kylo Ren and Rey, and we have kind of a repeat of the other scene, which was a great scene in The Last Jedi, where he's tempting her and trying to get her to turn, and then Kylo Ren turns, and that fight scene with those guards, that was a really, really good scene. We have a similar thing like that, but the two of them band together and beat him, just like, and again, it feels a little bit more like Return of the Jedi, where, Luke and Vader kind of team up to destroy the Emperor. But I think that would have been better than what we got. I think that if it replaced the Emperor with Snoke, and it would have been a better movie.
You could have had Snoke attempting to clone the Emperor. That could have been good.
Oh, that would have been interesting, yeah.
You know, and then you still could have, okay, so it works. It works. I've cloned the Emperor. Master, what do you want from me? He kills Snoke right away. He's such a badass. He kills everything. Like you could have easily made the Emperor a different, new, horrifying kind of villain based on Snoke bringing him back. Like there's so much you could have done.
And then to make room for that, they cut out the side quests they do with like going to get like, not that I love.
Casino Planet does not pay off.
Because that's in the second movie, but in the third movie, like going to see, I love Babu Frick. I think Babu Frick is one of the best things to come out of that movie. But that whole idea of them going off to get 3PO's memory wiped, and then it doesn't even pay off in the end because they give it back to him in the end. Like, there's no point to that, right? Cut that whole sequence out, where we have Poe's background as a smuggler somehow. Like, we don't know anything about that. They're just kind of throwing at us. Like, that whole idea, I think they could have just taken that out and just used that time to focus more on developing the Emperor and what happened with that. So yeah, it was not. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because
it's the revealing of details. It's that simple. Yeah. The revealing of details.
And the glossing over things that they shouldn't have glossed over. And I like what you said about in Empire Strikes Back about how Irvin Kershner was focused on those details and making sure they were realistic and logical, and that these things happen for a reason. There's a reason why, and it wasn't even that bad. It was like one of the ones was, why would they bring Leia and Chewie down to the carbon freezing chamber with Han? If they're just going to freeze them and send them off, why do they need to be there, right? And that's the kind of stuff he would talk out with the actors and figure that out, because they're there because we need to have that moment between Han and Leia, but there's got to be a real reason. The Vader is showing off or something like that. I can't remember what the logic was, but they came up with a logical reason why that had to happen that way, and that's what they should have done for a lot of The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Why? What was it? What was it? One other thing, like why does 3PO have to be? Why is he not allowed to say the Sith language? Why is that a thing? Like, that's stupid.
Well, I like that. That's the thing. There's like little touches of great stuff in there, but then the taking away, like Chewie's dead, Chewie's alive.
Yeah. It's stupid.
Hux doesn't want to die, so he's being very secretive. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, like it's a back and forth, and there's too much of that. There's too much. Like, Ben lives. Oh, now he's dead. Okay.
But I certainly, and you've said this a couple times, moments of greatness in the movie. Yes. Still some really good moments of greatness.
There's
the part where Ben is facing off against the Knights of Ren, and he kind of does this kind of like a dip, like, all right, let's do it. Like, he was ready, and I love that. I love that idea. And then he takes them on. Like, that whole idea was good. But yeah, overall, okay, I'll have to watch it. We'll have to watch it.
But yeah, there's and as I say, like, it's fun to watch it. The devil is in the details later on when you start thinking about it and going like I don't have any desire to watch all three of the new trilogy in a row.
No, I don't. Yeah, exactly. Desire. Yes, yeah.
Because I know it doesn't pay off.
I think of the three, I would be more likely to rewatch The Last Jedi, which I've probably watched more than the other two anyway.
Yeah, I think same for me.
There's so many moments in that film that I really, really enjoy, more so than the other two movies. And like I said, barring the Casino Planet section, everything else I love about The Last Jedi. So the
Casino Planet and what's his name? DJ.
Oh, well, that goes with that whole thing as well. The Casino Planet, that whole idea of them going to disable the tracker or some stupid thing, like, that's all ridiculous. There was no reason for any of that.
That would have been a fine place to introduce Lando.
Yeah.
That is a reason why they could have gone there. There's so many different reasons why we could have got them there. And the other thing that drives me nuts is their friends are getting shot out of the sky. They've escaped, and Finn is excited to gamble when they arrive there. I can't get past it. Where he's like, oh, look at this. Wow. Like, really? Your friends are being fired upon.
He's been sheltered his whole life. He's been a stormtrooper his whole life. He's been, he needs to get out more.
See,
all right.
It should be like, can you believe these awful people in this place, and they don't even know our friends are up there getting shot at? But it's like, nope.
Yeah, that's true. And then Broom Boy comes in. No,
and then Broom Boy, and then they free the horses.
Not really horses, but yeah. There's more horses in the third movie when they gallop the horses along the surface of a Star Destroyer.
Are those the same horses, by the way? Or
no, they're not. Horses? No, the ones in the Last Jedi are not horses. They're like horse-like creatures with weird heads.
Yeah.
But in the Rise of Skywalker, it is horses. It's essentially space horses.
Oh,
They look like horses, so with different hair or something. It's like what they did for the banthas. What did they use for banthas? Was it an elephant? No, it wasn't an elephant.
Yeah, I think it was.
Was it an elephant? Maybe they put a costume on. Okay. So yeah, they that's what they did for banthas. So the same kind of thing. They've just put a mask on a horse or something like that for that one. I don't know.
They dragged an elephant out to the desert, by the way, in Star Wars.
Oh, so bad.
Yeah.
So
and they
bad.
put a heavy costume on him.
How do they hide the trunk?
I don't know. I think it's in one of the making of.
Okay.
When they show them dressing it up.
Huh.
Well, it was an elephant, wasn't it? Well,
it has to be.
It couldn't have been a rhinoceros.
No, but what other animal is that size? Like, I don't think there's another animal they could use for that, and it moves like an elephant. So
yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right, well, we'll leave it at that then. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you on the ass.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?